Joe Rogan is bigger than every single show at CNN combined and gets paid more than every single person at CNN combined. And he was 100% right about this thing through the entire time. No. Let me get this point out here.
Tell me what he was right about.
Okay, how about, you know what you just revealed last month on Pat's show about ivermectin?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan was saying that, and you were smearing him for saying that.
Yeah.
You literally said he's taking horse dewormer.
Yes.
He should be ashamed of himself. You pleaded with your audience to not take it.
Yes.
Then you come back around and you go, hey, Pat, you know what I just found out? Turns out this thing isn't for animals.
Drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. What person? You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the YouTube channel. You're here with Pastor James Devalon. This and Chris Cromo. I don't know. When it comes to this man, I'm somewhat like, listening to him, I'm like, yo, it's like make up your mind, buddy. Like, that's the way I feel about him. It's like, where do you stand? Like, I know you're trying to be a centrist somewhere in the middle and stuff like that. But it's like, for me, I'm like, stand for truth and righteousness, man. Stand for what is right. You know, don't sugarcoat. He's trying to speak against the industry, the establishment. Every now and then he comes out and say something against them, and at the same time, he will support them. It's almost like, depending on where he is, you know, he tends to take a different shape and color depending on where he is. To me, I have a problem with that. I don't know about you. I have a problem with that. The person that you are is the person that you are. I just think you should stand for what you believe, no matter where you are. If your conviction is different, over time, you're going to make a decision and stuff like that. You know, he's come out and make some changes in his statements, but I'm still somewhat skeptical of the guy. But I will give him some respect, some godly respect here. He is exposing the DNC. He is exposing the Uniparty. He is exposing that politicians are corrupt from both sides of the issue. And he's going to show you what's going on. I'm going to listen to him, and then I'm going to bring this girl, which I had put a video online about her as well. So I'm going to make sure I bring her to talk about this, because she's also going to be, she's shocked. She was a former Democrat. She just doesn't know what to do anymore. Anyway, let's take a listen to Cromo to see what he has to say. Let's dial in.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging, and they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the two sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you that has to be spoken to here, okay? These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need to be able to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes, because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate.
Yep.
They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true at the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics. And I had my producer walk around and show you those suites. Now, they're not all the same. They're not all the same. But the reality is, in 2000, they spent $300 million on presidential campaigns. 24 years later, you know what they're expected to spend? $10 billion. Do you know how much money Harris has raised in the last couple of weeks? Hundreds of millions. And that's success. A lot of it's small donor, a lot of it isn't. The most dangerous money in politics is now legal money because of Citizens United. You've got to know this. The idea that they can fight against it is almost laughable. It's almost laughable. So look and listen when you are told these things. Because I don't care what they promise you. Not here tonight, not at the RNC, not that Trump knows them, not that they don't own them. He did one of the biggest fundraisers I've ever heard of in my life out where I live. Millions of dollars a plate. That's the reality of politics.
All right, well, I mean, better late than never. I'm glad that he's talking about this. Yeah, big dollars in politics. It's always been like that, but it's gotten worse over the years. How is that ever going to change? I highly doubt it. Do we need money in politics? Yeah, we do. We do. You do need donors. It's just the fact. But when their policies and their agenda drives a particular political party above the will of the people, that's what I have a problem with. I don't mind if you want to fund and assist and support a candidate because you have the means to do it. But some of these agendas, when they are left wing, when it's about the corporation instead of the people at the very bottom, right? It's top heavy. That's where the issue is, and this is why Pestilence 19 and all that injection stuff came through, because politicians were working with cooperation, and the media also kept on talking about it. So that's why we ended up in this confusion. Anyway, let me bring this girl to the channel now. She was a former Democrat, and she is gonna tell it like it is. She just doesn't know what to believe anymore. And she was at the DNC. She saw for the first time what it really is, and she came face to face with the facts that all that talking about the middle class and the saving the poor and all that, that's all jargon, political jargon. Because in reality, this is about serving those that are rich at the top. This is about meeting the needs of the donors, the investors. It is not about the people at the bottom. The Democrats really don't care. Oh, tax the rich, tax the rich. It's all a lie. They're being funded by the rich. Open your eyes. And she came face to face with that reality. So let's take a listen.
Okay, I'm gonna get real in this, and it's probably gonna piss some people off, but I'm okay with that, because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer, and when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more and more disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes. And I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns. And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on. Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls. They still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values. When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out-of-touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech, and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? Let's make the military the most lethal in the world? I thought I was part of the anti-war party. I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now. How can we ever say that we're going to fight corporate power or give a voice back to those communities that have been left behind when above the delegates on the floor in levels and levels and rings of suites with donors and corporations that we're literally looking down on the people below from above? That's what Chris Cuomo said, and he's absolutely right. You know, I went to the DNC this year hoping that I would feel reconnected to the Democratic Party, that I would have more of a sense of understanding of Kamala and her candidacy and what she stood for. But instead, I ended up leaving and feeling the opposite, more disconnected and alone than ever. And I don't think I can support Kamala Harris for president. I don't even know if I can call myself a Democrat anymore. I don't know who I'm going to be supporting, but I know it's not her. And for once, I'm not afraid to say it.
I can certainly understand how she feels. I mean, that's the reality. I will say that's the reality in politics, and this is why it's divisive, it's confusion. You know, this is why, although we got to talk about it because we do have to fight for our values, for our country. We got to fight for what we believe. But the reality is most politicians are bought and paid for, and they are doing the work of the deep state. They are working for the establishment, right? They've been hired, okay? And if they don't do their job, they get fired. And you can tell these donors are very influential in the political circle. Voting is significant, but I'm telling you, these donors have a say. So depending on which direction they want things to go, things will go. Although I do believe in our voting system, not as much as I used to, because I think there's corruption there too, corruption everywhere, of course. But that's just the reality. And again, I'm glad she's waking up to this reality, and she doesn't want to call herself a Democrat, which is fine. If she doesn't want to vote, she doesn't have to. I will never force anybody to vote. I tell people, vote for what you know is true, and vote for your value, and think about what is best for the country and your family. But if you wanted to support, if she ever wants to support someone who I think will make a difference in the world, and I believe this with my heart, I think Donald Trump is a good one to go for. You know, even Bobby Kennedy, of all people said, you know what? I might as well. I might as well get on board with the Trump train, because although I don't agree with Trump on every issues, but he's a much better candidate than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. You better get that name correct before they call you racist. So this is what is told. And again, I would like to hear from you whether or not you agree or disagree when it comes to this issue. Where do you stand? For me, this is why I tell people, I do think Trump is different than the other ones, the neocons, right? Yes, there's big money, but Trump was already rich. He was already president. We saw what he did, and he's learned from his mistakes. He's getting away from the neocons in the party, And these were the ones that really made it difficult for him to get things done. So he was really overthrown by neocons, Republicans working with left-wing Democrats. They came together to make sure Trump kind of could not really drain the swamp or get things done for the country. They really worked hard to make it happen. Trump has learned. He's become better. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. He didn't know Washington, D.C. and the deep state corruption, how bad it was. I think he's learned. So I think the MAGA movement is different than the established Republicans. They're not exactly the same thing. You have to understand that. Established Republicans hate Donald Trump. They hate Trump because Trump doesn't really do things the way that they want things done. Established Republicans work hand in hand with Democrats. That's what you will learn. The MAGA movement is different. That America First movement is different. They can't stand it. These are the facts. So, and I think this young lady is on point here for waking up. And I really hope, wherever the journey goes, and wish her the very best. There are a few things I want to say. Number one, while we're talking about this matter, and I will never sit here and tell you to put your trust in men. I tell people all the time, don't put your trust in them. Even in Donald Trump, for as much as I love Donald Trump, I understand he's a man. He can fail. He can make mistakes. He can make huge mistakes, okay? But we pray that that doesn't happen. Put not your trust in princes, nor in a son of man in whom there is no help, right? So first of all, don't trust in princes. These princes could also be kings. They can also be president, people that we vote in political position. Next, we are told it is better to trust in the Lord than to put your confidence in princes. It is better to trust in the Lord than to put your confidence in men. That's what we are told. So who should I trust in? And I would like to make that abundantly clear for you right there. Colossians chapter 2, right? Let's go to chapter 3, verse 2. There it is. It tells you, set your affections on things above, not things on the earth. So your trust must be placed on things above. That is, love your Lord, love Christ, love his truth. Because the things on this earth, no matter how much we like and want to fight for them, and by all means we should contend for the truth. We should contend for the Constitution. We should contend for freedom. We should stand for what is right and push back against the opposition that is here to tear apart the country. Know one thing for certain. Everything that's on this earth eventually is going to burn. These are the facts. These are the biblical facts that you can't avoid that. That doesn't mean we shouldn't fight, though. That doesn't mean we shouldn't fight. So set your affections on things above, not on things on the earth. So don't miss the heavenly train in the process of making an earthly living. I could say a lot more, but I think this video is long enough. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Share your thought and perspective with me. I would like to hear from you. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.